Hello there! In today's video, me, myself, and I will try to survive scary, modded Minecraft. And oh boy, it is spooky, to say the least. There are monsters lurking on every corner. Unique structures that will make you ponder. How did you get there? Without further ado, let's dive in. As you can see, I barely loaded into the world and I'm already greeted with a warm welcome by a ferocious scream from the nearby woods. Not only that, I see near my hotbar a brain, which shows my sanity. Sanity can be depleted by activities listed as such: swimming, taking damage, staring into the dark, and or staring into the haunted creatures of the night. And you better keep your sanity, because if it goes all the way down, you go a little mad. In the top left corner there is a minimap, and it is a very important tool because I can see what mobs are around me, and I can easily find my way around. Cue the footage of me getting lost on my first expedition, even though I have a very thorough and detailed map. I have a minimap and I still got lost. What is wrong with me? And getting dissected by a 7-foot-tall hellspawn with saw blades for hands. This is what we call an idiotic blunder. Anyway, not far from spawn, I located a village. After greeting the locals, I kindly initiated a strategic object redistribution initiative. Rest assured, there was only one beneficiary. After that, I politely moved in without paying rent. Any resistance was discouraged permanently. While wandering around the village, I was reminded that I was not the only monster around. In the distance, I noticed a wild beast, and bearing no armor and an enchanted golden axe, I charged the ugly monstrosity. Of course, I never stood a chance. The beast crushed all my limbs and then put me out of my misery. What an unfortunate development. However, God wasn't finished punishing me, because while trying to obtain my lost loot, a hideous goat-man creature jumped me and proceeded to perform an unauthorized head transplant to his inventory.
And you might feel just a slight tingle.
There was no second opinion. Near the village there was a huge crater. You could almost compare it to the size of your mother. There wasn't really anything of interest except for an ore block that I didn't recognize. Might come in handy later on. The next day I prepared some food from the borrowed wheat and went on the first expedition to find better loot, since this world can be quite unforgiving. The first landmark I stumbled on was a mass grave, or an unorthodox art piece. Either way, the message was clear. In these lands, it's kill or be killed. Finally, thanks to the minimap, I was able to locate a structure with possible loot. I jumped the fence and climbed the tower, then proceeded to steal all of their belongings. But I made a grave mistake. You see, I didn't scout the place out. Turns out the property owner, or the homeless man squatting there, it's kinda hard to tell, wasn't pleased with me breaking and entering. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but I was either drugged or having a heart attack. Nonetheless, the guy, looking like he came from the Russian sleep experiment, decided to have a whack at permanently rearranging my vital organs. I respawned back at the village, went out to receive the lost items, as mentioned before, got lost, died, then respawned again, went out, just to die again, and finally got back to the village in one piece. But for how long? Let's check out the loot that I so bravely fought for. 8 iron ores and a gold block. I would call this a great success. Some people would have done a lot more for a lot less. Following that, I decided to improve my base of operation, cleared out some trees, tilled the land, and started a small farming operation. This of course came with its own challenges. This piece of garbage pummeled my face with his huge fat arms, and one night while I was trying to go to sleep, a tall figure broke down the walls of the house and tried to have his way with me. Luckily, the iron golem was there to help. He died instantly. I followed shortly after. Seeing those walls being destroyed made me realize that I needed to build my own house, to construct it in the middle of the village, since I pretty much rule this outpost with an iron fist. If I'm in charge of these villagers, I need to live accordingly. With housing secured and power established, I began my underground expansion, but the results were less than ideal. I started digging down in the town, placing campfires for lighting and to raise my sanity, but it didn't make a difference. The creatures in the caves were no better than the creatures on the surface. A certain anomaly camped at the entrance. I tried fighting it. I tried to lure it away, since some mobs disappear after you die. This one is persistent. Therefore, I decided that caves are off limits, at least for now. Soon after I began my second expedition. It didn't take long to discover that enemy forces were closer than expected. A villager outpost stood not far away. Given my equipment situation, attacking the outpost seemed unwise. But my equipment didn't stop me from bothering a nearby village. What else are they going to do? Resist? And on my way back I discovered a chest and a grave. My morally flexible tendencies immediately led me to try and open the coffin. However, I didn't have the proper tools. After a bit of struggle, the coffin revealed its inventory: zombie flesh and some cobwebs. Just great. But I at least now have a coffin. I will place it in the middle of the village to ensure that the local residents stay in line. To be honest, at this point I thought I was doing great. Call it a golden age of some sort. It seems that my deforestation efforts were fruitful, and mobs were spawning further and further away. I could locate them better and avoid them, apart from the occasional slip-up. Like all good things, it all came crashing down. As previously stated, mining efforts were not going great. That's when I remembered there was a crater. Maybe, just maybe, I could use this as a mining hub. Things were going swimmingly with my new project, until I noticed Thelma staring at me suspiciously. It was something about her that caught my eye. I ignored it. What a grave mistake. Oh my god. Please help. Oh, thank you, Golem. Please kill him. Oh my, look at him go up and down. Any day now. Oh, well, thank you. Your sacrifice will not be in vain, Golem. I appreciate that. What the who is at the worst moment, at my weakest moment, I was killed by who? At the time, I was like, who is Thelma? Then I saw her face. This bitch jumped me and stabbed me in the back. In retaliation, I ended her existence. What came next threw a rhinoceros-sized wrench into my plans. A raid had started. That crackhead had been feeding them intel all along. They were waiting for an ideal moment to strike. I jumped to the defense, gathered all the iron I could muster, and made an iron chestplate. The iron golems were carrying in this fight. In hindsight, I should have just fed them the iron. They put up a good fight. However, the raiders and the monsters combined proved too much to handle. After they died, it all fell apart. I was killed soon after. Move! And when I checked the minimap, I saw a haunting sight. There were no villagers alive. Who am I gonna exploit now? After this revelation, I courageously fled the scene, and as a final middle finger to my face, I received the award Hero of the Village. No worries, ma'am. I was just doing my job. I'm just glad everyone is safe. My potential employees were now erased. This will not stand. I wanted my revenge and I had the precise coordinates for it. You may ask, but how are you going to destroy them? You barely have any loot. Well, at some point in my campaign, I met a clearly sane individual who is willing to supply the necessary tools to deal with my little problem. The price? My soul. I accepted without hesitation. Joke's on him, I never had a soul to begin with. Since our little arrangement, my package arrived 2 business days later. For some unknown reason, it was delivered in the coffin that I had placed earlier. I can't shake the feeling that this was done intentionally. But let's not dwell on that. Holy cow, we got the whole arsenal. Guns, ammunition, grenades, netherite armor, performance-enhancing drugs, and a bazooka. I could confidently say that we're ready. When I showed up to the outpost, I was a little surprised. You may ask why. Well, and I quote, a total of 8 pillagers, including the pillager captain, spawn in a pillager outpost. Turns out, there were more like 200 of them. Clearly, someone tipped them off, and they had reinforcements. But there was no time for hesitation. The battle raged on for an entire day and night. Some of the guns were malfunctioning. Clearly, the dealer had realized he was ripped off. But the bazooka was working perfectly. Trust me, I could feel my tissue flying off. The bodies and the many arrows lodged in my body had started to put a strain on my emotional well-being, and I was beginning to see things and hear voices in my head. In the end, it was too much, and I was killed by my own explosive. To conclude, did I survive this horror mod pack? Well, I was mauled to death several times by ungodly creatures. My plans to become financially independent were crushed by a surprisingly well-funded group of pillagers, and the only things that I was left with were voices in my head and a piece of real estate that was rapidly losing value. I would call this a great success. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And good night.